And well, guys, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to one more interview of DojoLIVE, connecting experts like you. And joining me today is my fellow teammate and Nearsoft and Jorge Simons. He's going to be. Um, I'm fortunate enough to have him on board today in such a short notice. So thank you, Jorge, for that. And I'm broadcasting from our Hermosillo offices by today, as in contrast to my regular Mexico City offices. All right. So, Jorge, welcome to the show, by the way. Today we're going to be chatting with Dima Malenko. Dima Malenko is the founder and CTO, Chief Technology Officer of rollApp, which is basically, he'll tell us all about it in a minute. It's a platform. It's a platform to run desktop applications in the cloud. So, Dima, welcome to today's show. It's a pleasure and an honor to have you here.
Yeah, the pleasure is all mine. Thanks for having me today.
Absolutely, it's our pleasure. So, okay. Well, Dima, before we get into the subject matter of today's conversation, I'd like to ask you two things. One, can you tell us a little bit about you, about your background, your expertise, and then, of course, tell us about rollApp and how it came about to be. Tell us the story behind it, and then we'll take it from there. Okay, so thank you.
Well, where do I start? Like in those times where dinosaurs were walking the earth or something?
Well, probably
a little closer.
That would be me.
No, I didn't mean to do that. But well, I'm a developer. I'm a developer by training, and I think that I'm a developer by trade. So I learned to be a software developer and started working as software developer. And but at some point, I realized that I can make more impact not by only coding something, but just ensuring that the team around me works on the right thing, and that led me into a little bit of a managerial positions, but still related to development. And I've been working on different positions in software development companies up until the point when a good friend of mine called me almost out of the blue saying that he has an idea. And when you said that I'm a founder of rollApp, that's not correct. It's not. It's not exact, because I'm a co-founder. That friend of mine who called me one day out of the blue is the founder, because he kind of came up with an idea, and he told me it was like it was quite a time since we spoke with him last time, but he called me and said, "Hey, Dima, I have this idea. What if we could do something that will allow to run regular like applications that you'll run every day in the browser, but make it appear such that the application is installed on your computer, but the application itself will be running in the browser. Do you think, first of all, do you like the idea?" And I said, "Yeah, that sounds like a cool thing to have." And then he told, "Well, do you think it's possible to do that?" And then I said, "Probably not. Probably the technology would not allow to do that." But still, we decided to try. And sometime later, we had a prototype that was working. Here is how rollApp started.
Oh, well, and when specifically about rollApp, can you tell us what your value proposition is in terms of the market, and how it is defensible against other offerings that might be out there?
Well, absolutely. Yeah, I often ask the same question, so I should know the answer to that.
Okay, so, perfect.
Well, first of all, what we do, like in simple terms, is we take a regular desktop application like Microsoft Office, although we cannot take Microsoft Office because of licensing restrictions, but it is a good example. We take the application, we and we run it on our cloud platform. In essence, we turn regular desktop application into a cloud application available in the browser with zero installation and with zero changes to the application itself. So if you go today to rollApp, you will find more than 200 of different applications there. Most of them are open source applications because it is easier for us not to deal with licenses and all that kind of stuff. But what we do is we take that application and move it to the cloud on our platform. And the application is running in the browser without installation, without anything, in just one click. And what we do, I think that's our special sauce that we add to it. We do everything possible to make the application look like it would be installed on your computer. So unlike regular, you can say, well, that's almost like regular remote desktop, right? You have server somewhere, there is an application running, I can log into that server and work with that application. But we're different than remote desktop, because what remote desktop gives you is just a limited viewport into the server, and no matter how many windows the application would open, you will still see all those windows in this through this viewport. When you're running an application on rollApp, you will get as many windows as the application opens. You can cycle through them with Alt-Tab or whatever you have on your platform to switch between the windows of the application. You can put them on different displays connected to your computer, which is impossible with remote desktop. And that's what we do. That's the essence of what we do. And then when it comes to unique selling proposition, well, that starts to differ, because with that technology, you can do all sorts of different things. First of all, you can run applications on, well, it's not run. I will keep telling run applications. It's not technically 100% correct, because you are not running the application on your device. The application runs in the cloud, but you can work with that application from almost any device. If you have a browser which is HTML5 capable, which is like almost all modern browsers, you can work with those applications. And we will try our best to create an illusion that the application is running on your device. So back to unique selling propositions. You can work with the applications developed for Windows and Linux on machines which are not Windows machines and Linux machines. For example, you may have heard about Chromebooks, right? The notebook with just a browser. You cannot install regular software there. But with Chromebook and rollApp, you can run all the familiar applications. Well, not run, you can work with all the familiar applications. And the illusion you will have is that the application is running on your computer. You can switch between windows, you can open files and things like that. That's the first thing. You can get access to different applications from platforms which are not originally supported by the applications themselves. That's one thing. Another thing is a different angle to this, is you have many different applications available somewhere in just one click. You click a button and you get the application running. You don't have to download or install anything. And with more than 200 of applications available today on rollApp, we cover more than, well, that depends on how you count, but more than 500 of different types of files. So when you get a file from somewhere and you don't know what the extension of that file means, you can go to rollApp or to our, it's not a sister site, but just our product site called rollmyfile.com. You can drag and drop that file there. We will look at the extension of the file. We will determine which is the application that can open that type of file. And because of the fact that we can launch the application right here, right on your computer without installing anything, we can open that file for you in the application, which is specifically designed to work with that type of file. You can, well, like get something like drawing DXF or DFX, I don't remember exactly, AutoCAD drawing. You can get this file. You don't have AutoCAD on your computer, but you can go to Roll My File, drag and drop that file on that site, and we will, I guess we will launch LibreCAD software and open that file for you. So you can look at the drawing, which you wouldn't be able to open otherwise. That's the second thing. You have many applications in your disposals, and all of them are available in one click. And the third thing is more of a developer angle. If you have an application which with a rich history, I wouldn't call those applications legacy application because it has a little bit of a negative connotation to it. But if you have an application with rich history, most likely it was developed for a platform which doesn't get a lot of people excited these days. It doesn't run on iPhones, it doesn't run on Chromebooks, but with our technology, you can move your application to the cloud, and through the web technology, you can make it available to users on different devices. I guess I has not yet mentioned that not only Chromebooks can be used to work with the application, but also iPads and Android tablets can also be used to access applications on rollApp and do things there. So I guess those are the three main things. You get the real application experience on almost any platform of your choice, regardless of the platform for which the application was originally developed. You get access to a whole bunch of different applications that cover various needs that you might have as a user, and as a developer, you can use our platform to move your application to the cloud and make it available to users who otherwise would not be able to use your great application.
Thank you so much, Dima. And actually, I got to tell you that before we jump into other questions that we have, it's a delight. I mean, I'm looking at a rollApp's website right now, and also Roll My Files. And visually speaking, as a user, the experience itself is extremely friendly. And not only friendly, it's fun. I mean, it's all these whimsical illustrations that you're using. It's simply, and I'm saying this from my standpoint as an illustrator, because I'm an illustrator too. And it's like, okay, this is something I just gotta do. And it's just something that I just gotta get to know more about, definitely. So so congrats on that. Before I just ramble on and I get too excited about this whole thing, I'd like to ask Jorge about. Jorge, I know you have some questions for Dima, so why don't you go ahead and shoot?
I guess my first question would be, are we ever going to get rid of install files? Like this was not one of the original questions, but hearing you talk, and then I was playing solitaire and with rollup right now, like in 2 seconds without installing anything. My question is this like the future of apps and the way we're going to interact with apps? Instead of downloading them, are they going to be in the cloud, and are we just going to be always connected and be able to access them?
Well, I think there is a little bit of both, because from technical standpoint, there has to be a way for someone to install an application somewhere. So when the developer develops an application, he has to create something like tangible that can be given to other people for them to use. And then the question would come how those install packages will be used. And I think that more often than not, it will be something like what you described, that there will be something online or something, well, not online, but in a connected world, you would be able to access the things and functions you need without additional steps of looking for software, downloading that software, trying to find an installer for your platform, or being frustrated that your platform is not supported, and then installing that software. I support the idea. I think that we are moving in that direction, that whenever you get a need for something, you will go on the internet and you will find something that will fulfill your need. And that may be an online application, or that may be an online service which takes different form. It is not an application, but still gets allows you to get whatever you want to do there.
I was asking this specifically because, like, for example, I work very closely with designers, and sometimes they're on the run and they don't have their PC with them or their Mac with them, and they need to open a picture just to change the title, for example. But if they don't have the Adobe Suite installed, then they need to look around for like a way to like access their account, download everything, which is like probably 30 gigabytes, and just
Right.
wait for an hour. And this sounds like there might be an app in rollApp that would just let you upload something, change it, and then download it back again.
Right. Yep. That would be possible. Although, well, I have to be frank there and not oversell, but if a professional uses a professional tool like Adobe Suite, most likely he would like to see that particular tool and do his thing in that particular application, and not always we can have that application available on rollApp. But the general premise is still holds. You have something, you need to quickly do something, and you go and find an application, launch it quickly, do your thing, and get back to other things that you were doing.
This would take me to a different question. So let's say maybe professionals are too stubborn to like change the way they do things. So who would be your customer? Like, who is rollApp talking to, or one thing to gather their attentions so they can use these apps in the cloud?
So so far we found our biggest and most devoted user base among those who got Chromebooks. They, you know what a Chromebook is, right? I already described it. It's like you have a laptop on your hands, but you cannot install software there. And you want to use software that you are already used to, that you have experience with, that you maybe have some muscle memory with. And we help those users to get to the applications like LibreOffice, OpenOffice, GIMP, and other tools on Chromebooks. Another category of users are those who maybe have computers, but the computers are not well up to date. They, as time goes, the lifespan of computers grows longer and longer and longer. We don't have to update our devices every year or every 2 years, but every once in a while we have a need to run an application that is demanding for computing resources. And cloud is something that can give you those resources. Even if you have a laptop which is not very powerful, you can run a graphics application, or open a huge document using the cloud, the application running in the cloud, simply because we have flexibility and can allocate more resources to a particular instance of the application.
I do remember the case of the Chromebooks that I think it was Google's bet on that Google Drive would be big enough to support every activity or every professional. But I see that you're covering a wide array of necessities there, which I guess the Google Suite might not offer as a whole. Do you have like? Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, the Google Suite has some good Office applications, and we use them often ourselves. And but still, every once in a while, for example, you can run in limitations even there. It was not very long ago when Google added pivot tables to their spreadsheets. Before that, you could not build a pivot table with Google Spreadsheet, and on a Chromebook. You couldn't use other software, you couldn't build pivot tables. But with rollApp and spreadsheet software that we have on rollApp, Chromebooks users were able to do pivot tables and things like that. So
regarding to a technical standpoint, do you have some limitations of today? Like, I imagine you created like a base product and started uploading free, not free, but open source projects. So what's the next step for you, like technically wise?
So one of the things that we are working on is, well, one of the most important things that we are currently working on is ability for users to upload and, if you want, install applications on rollApp themselves. Because what we have now is that our team gets the installer for the application, does some things with the installer to ensure that it can be accessible, to ensure that the application can be accessible to users all over the world. We do some special preparatory steps before making the application available, and then make the application available to the users. And what we want to do is to allow them to do that themselves. Suppose you have some application, well, which is not free, which is not open source, but you have legitimate access to that application and can run it for yourself. You want to run this application in the cloud, and today it is tricky. It involves you contacting us and we arranging a way for you to get to that application. We want you to be able to just go to rollApp and say, hey, here is an installer for the application I have, or here is the package for the application I want to run on your platform. You upload that package, maybe run through the installer, click next, 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 okay, I agree to the licensing terms or what have you there, and then get the application running. This is one of the biggest things that we are working on right now.
Okay. Thank you, well, Jorge. We're approaching the final minutes of today's interview, and I still have a couple of questions. So, Dima, from your standpoint, what would you say the biggest challenge, in your opinion, what's the biggest challenge, in your opinion, in your industry overall related to improving the customer experience and its impact on adoption?
Ooh, where do I begin?
Did I put you in a bind out there?
Well, there are lots of challenges, and I think the biggest list for us was getting an understanding of how the users get the most value of the technology we are going to give them. Because every once in a while, we are surprised to find out how the users are using the applications or some of the features that we have in not in exactly the way we intended them to be used. But when we learn about that, we see that this way they derive more value from what we have to offer. And this, I guess, well, at least in our case, was the biggest challenge, really understanding where is the value of what we offer to the market. How do we make sure that we advertise and tell users about something that is really important to them, something that really improves their lives, something that really makes them efficient and effective in the task they want to accomplish, as opposed to what we think about them wanting to do with our product.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Dima. And the only thing left for me to ask, because we're running out of time, is it's I think it's a rather comprehensive question. What keeps you up at night in terms of related to growth, tech platform, the market challenges? What keeps you up at night?
Well, many things keep me up at night, but one of the most important nowadays is this thing is what I described about giving users ability to run their own applications. How do we do that in a way that is secure, so that malicious user could not upload something nefarious and, you know, damage the platform or make harm to other users, to other his fellow users that may have been running on the same server or using the same bits and pieces of the infrastructure. That's one of the biggest things. And also another one is, well, if you think a little bit about what we do, you can say that we are somewhat relying on the past, because new applications are developed in a different ways than the applications that are typically running on our platform. And the big question for me is, so the times are changing. Fewer people want or have to use desktop applications to do their work or for entertainment or things like that. More and more people use mobile applications. More and more developers develop cloud-first web applications, and we at rollApp have to think how we remain relevant and competitive in this changing landscape. I don't think we have an answer to that yet, but that's certainly one of the things that keeps me up at night.
Cool. Well, and as far as keeping you up at night, if you had to start over, what would you do differently and why?
Well, that is a good question. I think, well, I wonder if many people would give the same answer as me, but I think what we would do differently, what I would do differently is I would be more focused. In the beginning, we tried to do a little too many things at the same time. And some of the bets we placed didn't work out. So I think we would be better off making fewer bets, but maybe pressing some of them harder. Well, I guess that would be the main thing. Yeah, well, that's in general. I understand that's a general thing.
Yeah.
More specifically, one of the things that we should maybe have done differently, but there is no way of knowing that upfront. You know, when the first workable versions of our technology start appearing right at the time when Apple introduced iPad, and we, along with many others, Apple included, believed that tablets could be a future of computing, that people would use tablets to do meaningful, productive work, to do productivity tasks on tablets. But as we now know, that turned out not to be the case, unfortunately. Yes, many people do use iPads and tablets for productivity, but even more people use tablets and iPads as media consumption device. They do not do creative or productive tasks on their tablets. Well, at least not as many people as we hoped. So, and from that perspective, we could have saved some time and effort in trying to chase that customer who never appeared with running productivity tasks and heavyweight applications on tablets and iPads.
Okay. Well, Dima, unfortunately, we have run out of time. But if those of you who are watching or will be watching at a later time on DojoLive's website, where can we, Dima, where can we learn more about your company, about rollApp?
So you can go to rollapp.com. It's rollapp.com, like roll, like you roll, and app, like in application.
Yep.
And we have everything about what we do and how we do. Well, not everything about how we do that, but about everything about what you can do with our technology there, and also our little site called Roll My File, all one word, will help you open any file online in a matter of seconds.
Great, and I'm sure. Well, we're going to make sure to include these links, these URLs, so that the world knows about them right there on the landing page of this interview, which is going to be on the DojoLIVE website, dojo.nearshop.com. So we'll take care of that. It's all going to be in there for you guys, for you folks and the audience, to just to go straight ahead into finding more about rollApp and also about Dima. And the only thing left for me to do, Dima, is to send you a heartfelt warm thank you for having agreed to be here with us today. And also, just a quick announcement about next week. We usually have DojoLIVE interviews on Wednesdays, but given it's 4th of July on Wednesdays and no one's going to be around, so this is going to be next week on Wednesday. We're going to have Jeff Jonas, the CEO and founder of Senzing with a Z, a platform that is focused on helping organizations solve some of the world's most complex business and big data challenges. So it's about big data, folks. So keep an eye on that, and that's going to be next week on Wednesday. With that being said, Dima, again, thank you so much, and thank you, Jorge, as ever, for having joined us today on DojoLIVE. And again, thank you so much. We'll be sharing all the info about Dima and about rollApp right here on the DojoLIVE website. Dima, thank you so much.
Yep,
Have a
thank you
great
so much.
It was a pleasure, and we'll be in touch. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you
Have a great day.
Thank you, Carlos. Thank you, Jorge.
Bye.